to cave in.
That's like 1,000 years east.
That's going to cave in, surely. Well, did you know the roof's leaking? Like, like this whole bit is like filled up. Yeah.
That bit.
It feels like the lightning.
Why do you keep going through all lightning in Chichester? Beautiful, that one. Let's go skiing. And then
distinguished guests, graduands and diplomats of the University of Chichester, I call upon Student Union Vice President Hermione Jane Boys.
It's a huge honour to stand here today as the Vice President of the University of Chichester Students' Union at this incredibly significant moment in your lives. Today marks the culmination of years of dedication and hard work. You've met the deadlines, you've adapted to change, and you've continued to show up, not only for your education, but for yourselves and for one another. You've balanced lectures with part-time jobs, coursework with society meetings, and study with memories that will last a lifetime. This moment is a celebration of perseverance, adaptability, and growth. It reflects the knowledge you've gained, the values you've shaped, and the resilience you've built along the way. And in a world that is constantly evolving, your ability to learn, to question, and to rise to challenge is something you should be truly proud of. Graduation is not only the end of a chapter defined by learning, but also the beginning of something new, a moment to step forward. As you sit here today, it might feel like standing on the edge of a cliff leading to the next adventure. Some of you will be ready to dive headfirst, some of you will want a moment to think, and some of you think you need a bit more time before you jump. As you move on to this next chapter, whatever that might be, I hope you take with you the values and the confidence that you've earned here. You leave not only as graduates, but as critical thinkers, leaders, creators, researchers, collaborators, and advocates. Now's your time to fly, and I hope you make an impact wherever you go. I'd also like to take a moment to thank the families, friends, academic staff, and professional teams who've supported our graduates on their journey. No graduate reaches this moment alone. Behind every success story are the people who offered support along the way. To the loved ones, thank you for being a steady source of reassurance, celebration, and belief, even during the most challenging of moments. To the academic and professional staff, your passion and commitment to excellence have helped shape not only minds, but futures. And to the student supports team, Students' Union staff, and everybody who works behind the scenes, your care, commitment, and dedication have shaped this journey. I've firsthand seen the dedication and creativity and perseverance that runs through your cohort. Some of you I know, and some of you I've supported personally. And each of you has faced challenges, whether they've been academic or personal, whether they've been loud and visible or quiet and known only to you. You've showed up on the hard days and you've pushed through when motivation was low, and that perseverance is something to be truly proud of. This ceremony isn't just about academic success, it's about how far you've come, because you've earned this moment. Whether navigating academic pressure, personal setbacks, changing circumstances, or just the unpredictable world we live in, you've shown an unwavering commitment to your goals. You've adapted, you've persevered, and you've continued to move forward even when it wasn't easy. So I want you to take a moment to be proud of not only yourself, but your peers and how much collectively you've overcome to be here today. Finally, on behalf of the entire Students' Union, I want to say how proud we are of every single one of you. Each of you has added something special to this community. Whether you were a hardcore wishy ranger or an academic weapon, every single one of you has shown up and shaped our student community into something vibrant, bold, and beautiful. Wherever you go from here, whether that's to work, to travel, to change the world, or to take some time to work life out, know that you are more than ready. You're not the same person who arrived on their first day. You're stronger, more resilient, more confident, and you're always going to be a graduate of the University of Chichester. This is not the end of your journey, but the beginning of endless possibilities. Distinguished guests, graduates, and diplomats of the University of Chichester, I call upon Professor Simeon Dagkas to give his opening remarks.
Thank you, Hermione. Beautiful words. It's always great to have the Student Union voice at the graduation ceremonies, so thank you very much. Good morning, everyone. It is my great pleasure to welcome you to this graduation ceremony in the beautiful setting of Chichester Cathedral. I would like to begin by acknowledging some very special guests whose presence makes today even more meaningful. We are honored to be joined by representatives from our Board of Governors, the Chair of Audit Committee, Yvonne Chester, who will confer the awards, and the very Reverend Dr. Edward Dowler, who is the Dean of this beautiful cathedral. I just want to say a massive thank you for your hospitality and for hosting those graduation ceremonies. It means a lot to us. Thank you. A warm welcome also to our honorary graduate, Piers Adams, who today receives an honorary Doctor of Music in recognition of his outstanding contribution to the world of music. Thank you all for being here to celebrate this important occasion with us, and thank you, Piers, for accepting this award. Graduates, on behalf of the entire University of Chichester community, I would like to welcome you to this graduation ceremony. Today, this morning, is all about you. Recognizing your achievements and celebrating just how far you have come. It is a delight to see this cathedral filled with those who have supported you throughout your time with us. Your families, friends, and loved ones have been an integral part of your journey, and I'm delighted that they can be here today. Our mission at the University of Chichester has been not only to develop your academic skills and understanding, but to help you realize your full potential. Whatever your vocation, the contribution you wish to make, the career you're destined for, your education will have given you a passion for discovery and a very practical sense of how your learning can benefit others within our society. You have been part of an environment where everyone feels safe to experiment and to explore, an atmosphere that brings out the best in you and your peers. And it doesn't stop here. We hope that the qualification you have achieved is a source of enormous pride. You're graduating from a university that was placed 6th in the entire country for teaching quality in the National Student Survey in 2025. Actually, a survey that you graduates have voted for up to 100% satisfaction. So thank you very much. And at the same time, I would like to thank everyone here in the platform and all the staff who has actually made this happen, working collaboratively with you to achieve this award and to be extremely satisfied students. You're graduating from the university that has made the most significant climb in the Complete University Guide, and actually from the University of the Year for teaching excellence in the latest Daily Mail University Guide this summer. And from the university that, as of Saturday just gone, is once again in the top 30 in the Guardian University Guide and top 8 in the whole of the country on the same league table for teaching excellence. But perhaps more importantly, you're graduating from a university that is dedicated to cultivating talent and potential wherever it is found. Our Adversity to University program has recently attracted national attention and a significant financial donation for the way it opened doors for those individuals who have historically been excluded from higher education and in most cases also from society. Our community strength and vibrancy lies in its diversity. Your commitment, perseverance, and hard work has led to an academic qualification that sets you apart. Alongside the knowledge and skills you've developed, you'll have broadened your perspective and strengthened your character in countless ways. It is this, alongside the friendships that you have made, that will ensure you thrive as you embark on the next stage of your life. You will always belong to the unique community that is the University of Chichester. And as you go out into the world, please know that we'll be cheering you on at every step of the way. Please also take a moment to recognize how far you come and to congratulate yourself on everything that you have achieved so far. And as Hermione said in her opening remarks, although it may feel like an important chapter is closing, this is actually the beginning. And I and we couldn't be more excited for you. Now to the formal part. Through the authority given to the University by the Privy Council and the power vested in me as the Vice-Chancellor by the Academic Board of this University, I now declare this ceremony open. Thank you very much. Now, I would like to invite the Chair of the Audit Committee, Yvonne Chester, to stand to confer the awards.
Governor, as head of the School of Performing Arts and Conservatoire, I present to you the candidates who have been awarded the Bachelor of Arts in Acting for Film, Music Performance, Film Acting, Music with Teaching, Musical Theatre, Film Acting, Musical Theatre Music, Musical Theatre and Arts Development, Songwriting and Cabaret Performance, and Teaching of Musical Theatre. Reina Rodriguez dos Santos. Becky Taylor. Molly Garrett. Abby White. Alicia Bassett. Abigail Ford. Callum Brown. Max Jesper Evans. Kennedy Claridge. Vanessa Nettie. Isabel Lack. Gemma Berry. Holly Madigan. Olivia Moncrief. Antonio Megna. Josh O'Halloran. Isabel Louis. Aurora Lard. Stephanie Rees. Alice Martin. Buddy Walker. Emily Brackley. Molly Myhill. Andrew Gould. Albie Owen. Louis Blacktop Wales. Mirabelle Mazzilli. Cameron Berryman. Hannah O'Donnell. Evie Gorta. Holly Butler-Smith. Liv Murphy. Kieran Hall. Leah Prothero. Louise Denton. Francesca Ford. Ethan Cotton. Mafanwe Vaughan. Alfie Harridge. Maya Stanio Marimuthu. Tilly Dyer. Daniel Weston. Daniel Byrne. Ben Brown. Laura Milburn. Chloe May Rita Collins. Amy Fundle. Molly Gilbert. Alyssa Court. Fleur Smith. Millie Harrison. McGrath. Natalie Durrant. Katie Martin. Jodie Webb. Sarah Mayhead. Thomas Roberts. Lucy Robinson. Lydia Benjamin. Abigail Rees. Faye Wright. Lauren Powers. Grace Atieno. Kayanne Chewett. Emily Miller. Charlie Bates. Faith Harper. Bridie Probert. Lily Mae Cruz. Lena Williams. Olivia Coates. Rebecca Moore. Victoria Blake Saker. Sandro Martinez Mireyes. Jessica Elizabeth Duck. Alexandra Mottram. Tom Kentigan Fox. Florence Tweddle. Elena Tsenkova. Alex Walker. Daria Hartescu. Georgie Brooks. Kaylin van Veek. Genevieve Pocknell. Aidan Bryan. Marceline Hollyhead. Elizabeth Reynolds. Esther Lanfear. Fionn Keeble. That concludes the presentation of the Bachelor of Arts. Governor, as head of the School of Performing Arts and Conservatoire, I present to you the candidates who have been awarded the Bachelor of Music in Jazz Performance, Music Performance, Orchestral Performance, Vocal Performance Classical, Vocal Performance Non-Classical, and Vocal Teaching. Oliver Peel. Louis Winter. George Dolan. Orla Burke. Yayan Price. Bethany Picton. Caris Hall. Istvan Miklaus Lupo. Alexander Fisher. Charlotte Barton. Megan Matthews. Ellen Bailey. That concludes the presentation of the awards.
the Board of Governors and the Academic Board of the University of Chichester are resolved to confer upon Piers Adams an honorary doctorate of music. Can I ask Piers to join Governor Yvonne Chester so that I can talk about him while everybody's watching? Ladies and gentlemen, everyone, Piers Adams. Piers Adams is one of the greatest recorder players of our age. That can be put in different ways, and I'm going to say the ways people have said it slightly differently. In America, the Washington Post said he was the reigning recorder virtuoso in the world today. Slightly more combative, perhaps. The Germans, in Allgemeine Zeitung, called him simply the best recorder player in the world. The Daily Telegraph, nearer to home, called him sexy. International Record Review points out that the things Adams does with his collection of recorders defy the imagination. The prize for poetry goes to All About Jazz website, which describes listening to him as an experience as fresh as a spring strawberry bursting on the roof of your mouth. I thought we ought to establish who we all are here. I spoke to Piers and I said, how did this all begin, Piers? And he said, well, I learnt the recorder at primary school. So I just thought I'd find out. If you, like Piers, encountered the recorder at school, after 3, I'd like a really loud, resounding, Conservatoire-worthy amen. 1, 2, 3, amen. It would appear, Piers, you are among friends. Now, no disrespect to anybody sitting in the nave, but Piers is really very good at this. Now, I think it's partly that he's very good at the recorder, but partly something to do with his personality and something to do with the personality of the instrument. So I'm going to give you a little, very brief history lesson. The recorder has a long history, but in its long history, it has had 2 patches of what we might call sunshine. The sun came out about halfway through the last century when everybody got a bit fed up of how horrid modernism was and decided it would be interesting to look at older music. That was when Piers got caught up, not halfway through the last century, because he's not that old, but a bit later, in David Munro fever. However, the real summer for the recorder was a lot earlier in the Baroque period, a mighty period 150 years long, which is as silly as saying that Brahms and Billie Eilish are in the same period of music. Now, I think it's significant what happens when people get good at different kinds of music. If you were a classical composer and you're developing and getting very good at being one, you're said to be mature. If you're a romantic composer and you're still writing romantic music when most other people have given up, you're said to be late. If you're a modernist and you're still writing modernist music when most people have got the hint, you're said to be unreconstructed. But, as far as I know, the only style that, as it develops, gets high is the Baroque. Which brings me back to Piers. Actually, Piers has brought something to Baroque music that it very badly wanted. He founded Red Priest, and if you're thinking Red Priest is a little confused with Judas Priest, the heavy metal pioneers, that I think is possibly partly intentional. I've been looking up on my trusty friend Wikipedia all the bands with Priest in. Swedish synth pop Priest is a band. Priests is an American punk band. TV Priest is an English post-punk band. And Richard Coles was an actual priest in the communards. I think I've exhausted it. However, what Red Priest have done is to put the rock back into Baroque. So our sort of recorder player, Governor Yvonne Chester, I present to you Piers Adams for the award of Doctor of Music Honoris Causa.
Thank you very much indeed. It is such an honour for me to be here. I'd like to thank, first of all, Ben for that wonderful and very flattering citation. And I'd like to thank my good friend, the Venerable Dr. Crispin Ward, wherever he is, for recommending me for this honour, and particularly to thank the university as a whole for bestowing this upon me. So thank you very much indeed. This came as, I have to say, a quite considerable surprise because, as you've heard, I've spent much of my professional life going against the grain and against the musical establishment. So to find myself standing here in academic regalia in a cathedral accepting a doctorate is something, if you told me a year or so ago it was going to happen, I would not have believed you. In fact, when the letter, official-looking letter, dropped onto my doormat, I immediately was somewhat worried because I thought it was going to be another speeding ticket. And as I already had 9 points on my license, so I was obviously very pleased when I opened the letter and found that I was actually being rewarded rather than punished for speeding. Because the early days of my career were characterized by a desire to play at lightning speed. In fact, I spent my teenage years practicing like a demon in order to try and become the fastest recorder in the West. But I then went to university and studied physics, and it was only at that point I thought I'd give this music, this recorder playing thing, a go just for a year to see if I could do something with this somewhat obscure talent. And so I went to the Guildhall School of Music just for 1 year part-time postgrad course, and then I thought I'd give myself maybe 5 years to see if I can make a career doing something as silly as playing the recorder. And that extended to 10 years, and it's currently sitting at 41, and I'm still wondering whether I can really make a career at this, but I seem to have done so along the way. So I've been very privileged to have been able to play all around the world, and over those years, I guess my playing has hopefully developed a little bit from being a speed king to being a little bit more of a rounded musician. And also I've learned a lot over the years about what it takes to be a performer in today's world. And I thought maybe I'd just pass on a little bit of that knowledge. I think the thing that I would say above all else, the most important thing that worked for me is be confident in yourself. Just be yourself, plough your own furrow, find out what it is about yourself that is absolutely unique, because of course we're all completely unique beings. And I think our greatest responsibility is to really embody that and then find whatever way we can to express that to the world. Particularly as performers, we must express it in the most big-hearted and generous and loving way we can in the world. Now, too many people these days are bound by rules and regulations, and we're kind of boxed in a bit. And I'm reminded of the words of a musician, an obscure musician from the early 18th century by the name of Johannes Mattheson from Germany. He was a composer and a violinist, but he had a real bugbear with people just following the rules. And he wrote, "Rules are valid as long as I consider it well and sensible to abide by them, and they are valid no longer than that." And later on he précised that to rules are what I like and as long as I like it. So I think this is a very important lesson to take out into the world, particularly if you're entering the world of the arts, the performing arts. There are no rules. Masterson went on to say in music that the only rule of nature is the ear. And so I think our ultimate responsibility is to develop our own ears, to get in touch with our own unique personalities and find whatever way we can to project that out into the world. I had the great pleasure, by the way, of working with maybe some of you here, I'm not sure, from with the University Baroque Orchestra over the last couple of years. And I was really delighted to find what an open and enthusiastic bunch of musicians they were, highly talented, but also really up for anything, up for breaking all of those rules and just making damn fine music. And that, after all, is the whole point of it all, and never let anybody tell you anything to the contrary. So when I started off my career, it's obviously very different, a different world to the world today. Many of you graduates here, you may just be graduate level in your chosen discipline, but I'm sure you're all at least professorial level in TikTok. The world is very different. We now have much more direct ways to get our art out to everyone without the need for middlemen, and so it creates its own set of challenges. And one particular crisis which seems to be facing many people in the world, but particularly in the arts, is the rise of AI, which seems to be everywhere around us. And it's worth remembering that word crisis, many of you may know this, but in the Chinese language, the symbol for crisis is actually made up of two separate symbols, one of which is danger and the other of which is opportunity. And I really think it's important we take the new opportunities that we have in this world, both to work with AI, but I think much more profoundly than that, it really invites us to dig as deep as possible, as we possibly can, into what it means to be human. And there's maybe no better metaphor for that than being in a performing situation where you're in a room performing to another room full of people, and we have a very direct heart-to-heart connection. A real alchemy is set up then between performer and audience. And I think as many of you here will be going on to a life, hopefully, in somewhere in the performing arts, that is really the golden egg which I think we should all strive for. So I guess it just remains for me just to say one last thank you to the university and a big congratulations to everyone who's graduated. Good luck in everything that you do from here onwards. And I should just finally say that I do now have an entirely clean driving license, although I did have to do my 4th speed awareness course last week, so it shows you can't keep the fastest recorder player in the West down. Thank you.
Thank you, Piers. That was lovely. Be yourself. Embrace change. We are all unique. Thank you very much. A few things to mention now as closing remarks, some formal, some non-formal. But I will start with the formal one. Through the authority given to the university by the Privy Council and the power vested in me by the academic board of the university, I declare that those persons who are listed in the graduation program, who present themselves here at this ceremony and who accept their awards in absentia, are deserving of the awards that have been made to them, having achieved them by due and approved process. And you are actually graduating from the best university conservatoire of this country, so congratulations. Now the not so formal graduates there at the back. Many people have played a part in your success, supporting you along the way. In a moment, please, and I don't think it will be difficult that for students that they are art and performing arts students, right? In a count of 3, I would like you to put your hands together and show your appreciations for the friends, family, and staff members who have been part of your journey. Can I please ask that you be as unrestrained and enthusiastic as you wish, like you have been throughout the ceremony. Wait. 1, 2, 3. That was just outstanding. I don't think I expected anything else than that, so thank you so much. And I hope you here in the front appreciated that show of appreciation, because they put the work, but you were always behind to support. Don't you forget that. You made this happen. So, I now declare that the ceremony is closed. Please remain standing, if you are able to, for the academic procession, and whilst the graduates actually leave the cathedral from here in the front. So, as we process out, please do applaud the graduates as they come out. Thank you very much. Enjoy your day.